have a free seat next to you. If you have a free seat next to you, I'm looking at you right now. If you have a free seat next to you, put your hand in the air. Thank you. So someone who's standing up can sit down. Is it not your bag?
No.
Whose bag is it? Who's she? Who's where?
Just sit.
Have a seat. Have a seat. Are there anyone other spare seats? There's no point in having spare seats when there are people wasting good cartilage in their knees. And they can sit down. Good, we're all full. So thank you so much for coming. This is wonderful. See so many of you on a Tuesday evening. Some of you, let me just check. Hands up please, if you have ever attended something on a Tuesday evening before. You liars. Because we very often have great speakers and there's about 10 people in the room. So now that you know that this room exists, Tuesday 6 p.m, you can know to keep an eye out for all the information from the careers team and the corporate relations on our wonderful guest speakers and careers workshops. And you can make sure you're using this. We don't always feed you, but sometimes you can make a sandwich at home, can't you? So thank you for coming. You should all be senior students or about to be senior students planning on completing your degree in spring or possibly by next Christmas. Is that correct? Is there anyone here who would not complete their degree until 2021? Because if you are here and you're just here for free pizza, believe me, it's not worth listening to me for an hour. Alright, good. So thank you for coming. This is wonderful. I want to thank, before we start, everybody from the team as well who have come to help you understand all the stuff you need to do before you finish. I do get students coming up to me in graduation ceremonies who I've never seen before, and it just irritates me. So at least now I'm looking very carefully at your faces. I'm going to try and remember them. Also, some of you will, irritatingly, not have actually started your career search yet. And yet you're coming into your senior year. You haven't even started thinking about internships, CVs, graduate placement schemes. If that's the case, don't tell me because I might get violent. Alright? But it's good that you're here now because it's not too late to start, and that's why you've got the wonderful careers team who are going to help you later. So, a few things you need to think about as you prepare for graduation, as you prepare for the big dirty world outside. First of all, what do we mean by graduation? Most of you get this confused. There's two separate things. First of all, there's graduation. That means you've actually completed your degree. The academic board, as you can see up there, approves it. What actually happens is when your final grade of your final course comes through, it gets submitted by the professor, and the second grade is submitted to the associate deans. The associate deans will then review it. If appropriate, they will approve it. If it's been appropriately done and second graded. It then goes to the assessment board. That means the external examiners will then go and review it. In the assessment board, they will then discuss it, argue about it, and then they approve it. Once it goes from the assessment board, it goes to the academic board. The academic board will then review and approve it, and only at that point will you get a degree. Okay? So it's not just you submitted your final assignment and we say, okay, have a certificate. There is a very rigorous process to make sure that you can have that. That's different from the commencement ceremony. That's why this commencement ceremony word. The commencement ceremony is the bit where you dress up in a polyester black dress or gown or whatever they call it, and you put a silly hat on your head where you can balance a drink, and you walk across stage in front of all your friends and family, you shake my hand, and then you walk on the other side, and then you have photographs and you have a glass of Prosecco, and everyone says, oh, I'm so proud of you, and it's wonderful and wonderful. That does not mean you've graduated. Some people have walked at the ceremony, but they haven't completed their degree. Okay? They walk because we allow them to walk because we are such a flexible institution. You can complete your degree at the end of, you can graduate in a second. You can complete your degree graduation at the end of fall, at the end of spring, at the end of summer 1, and at the end of summer 2. whenever you submit your final submissions and you get a final grade for the final course that you're doing, you could graduate. But we have one commencement ceremony a year. Okay, and that is why there's a process which you will learn about, that in some circumstances, if you have a couple of credits left to complete, we allow you to walk. But that is not graduation. Just because you have a photograph, it does not mean you have a degree. Everyone clear? Now the question, sir. Remind me of your name.
Do you have it's Daniel. Daniel.
Daniel, thank you, Daniel.
Do you have the exact date of the ceremony?
Not for this coming year, because we are deciding between two different options. The problem is that the Royal Festival Hall, which we've used for the last 3 years, which is a beautiful concert venue, one of the most iconic venues in the Western world, and I only say that because I don't know the Eastern world so well, if not I would say the entire world, that is not available for our usual spot at the end of August. They have decided they're not taking any more graduation ceremonies for that period of time. So that then gives us our dilemma. Do we still go for the same period at the end of August, but a different venue? Or do we move it forward a little bit to make it actually more convenient for just about everybody and put it, for example, between summer 1 and summer 2? So if you're rotating, you have the opportunity to come and then go. We have not managed to work that out yet because it depends on the availability of the premises, of the venues. All right? I guarantee you, some of you would prefer to be at the end of August, some of you would prefer between summer 1 and summer 2, and there's no right way to do it. If you belong to a British university, you would probably come back about 4, 5, 6 months after completing your degree, graduating, to go to a ceremony. We try to make it a little bit closer because we're conscious people are flying in from different parts of the world. But we will let you know as soon as we have that finalised. I was hoping I could give you the date right now, but we don't have it finalised. I'm not going to suggest a date which is not finalised. Okay? Thank you, Daniel. That was a good question. Any other questions on this very simple bit? Gosh, we're never going to finish. We'll get to that. What's remind me of your name? I'm terrible with names, as you all know. That's why please remember, always wear your name tags, then I don't have to keep asking you.
Can you graduate but not walk?
Yes, you don't have to have a pretty dress and walk in the ceremony. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. That's fine. When I got my MBA, I had no interest in going to the ceremony. I had no friends. Why would I go and make no? So you don't have to. Your parents might say, no, you have to, because I want to see you all dressed up with a silly hat. I want the photograph. You can just get photoshopped and do the photograph at home. Your choice, okay? But you don't have to. If you want to, you graduate, you complete your degree, academic board awards you the degree, you contact registry, registry will send you your diploma and transcript in the post. Okay? To anywhere in the world.
How long does it take before you can get the actual degree?
From academic board, you mean once academic board approves, and then you get the certificate?
How long is the process?
About that long. It depends. So it depends because academic board meets only 4 times a year. 4 times or 3 times? Is it twice a year this time? It used to be 4 times, twice a year. So the academic board meets twice a year. Okay? So we try and coordinate when they're meeting with the big points when postgraduate and undergraduate students are most likely to require their degree. If you need your degree certificates for master's programs, for jobs, etc., then we are able to expedite matters or provide you with another document proving that you have completed the degree. That's never been a problem. Just not having the piece of paper, that's not a problem as long as you finished. All right, so that's kind of it from me. Is there any other questions from me before I hand over to people who are far more knowledgeable and more attractive? In which case, thank you. Ah, yes. That's right, don't apologize. Say this again.
When will you be able to tell us the date of
The ceremony, as soon as we know. And hopefully it will be before the ceremony. Alright? That's what we're aiming for. Before the ceremony, look, we know that you have to plan with your parents, with your families, if you have friends with them as well. So as soon as we know, you will know. Okay? As soon as we have something concrete defined, we will let you know. Not before.
Maybe the topic, but when can we expect the exam schedule for this?
Very shortly, faculty are giving us their preferences for exactly what they need to do this semester. But we are sending out, you will see other communications from me, those lovely videos that I know you all hate. So it'll be in the next video probably. A reminder, don't book any flights outside, inside term time. So the very final day of exam week is the 20th of December. You might have an exam on the 20th of December at 4 o'clock. You might not, I don't know yet. But please don't book any flights, because you might find that you have that and we don't want you to end up failing an exam because you've got a flight. All right? As soon as we have that, we will do it very shortly. I will now move on to the most excellent, wonderful global registrar for undergraduates. Please put your hands together for Antonella de la Conte.
That wasn't necessary. Okay, so I just want to follow through on what Ronan has said. So what do you need in order to graduate? As Ronan was saying, you working at the ceremony, you don't graduate. You graduate when you reach 120 credits. But that's not enough. You all know what's a degree audit? Yes. You all look at your degree audit? Yes. So you all know that you have to complete all your needed requirements? Yes. So if you see courses into your unassigned, what does it mean? You don't need them. So if you are close to complete your degree, make sure that you check all your courses that you are enrolling into. If they don't fit in your degree audit, if they don't become enrolled, registered, then you don't need these classes. And there is no point for you to enroll them just to reach 120 credits. If you reach 120 credits, but you have even one needed courses on your degree audit, you have not completed your degree. You will not graduate, you will not get your diploma. So it's very important, if you see anything on your degree audit that is not fitting within your gaps of needed courses, come and see us. Either you don't need that class, or maybe it's a class that you are repeating and you've already taken, but we can help you out. What I want to avoid is you coming to me in May, June, July and being like, I have 120 credits, why you haven't emailed me that I can work at the graduation ceremony or I can graduate? Because most of the time is you have not completed the requirements of your degree. Is that clear to all of you? Okay. So make sure you look your degree audit, make sure you complete all your needed courses, and as Ronan said, you are able to work at the commencement ceremony even if you have not graduated. So even if you have not earned 120 credits. But in order to work at the ceremony, you must be enrolled in your 120 credits. So you have to be enrolled in all the courses needed by the time that you work at the ceremony. Does it make sense? This includes your capstone. This includes your internships. This includes 1 credit courses. So if there is anything needed by the time of the commencement ceremony, you will not be approved to work. You need to enroll into everything. It's important because your balance is also calculated based on the credit you enroll. So if you are missing something, ceremony is tomorrow and you enroll today, you won't be able to complete everything necessary for you to work, so you will be denied. Make sure that you check your degree audit on time and you are enrolled in all the needed courses. Any questions? Good. Again, following up on the board meets only twice a year, usually around August and then November. So what happens is that when you attend the graduation ceremony, it doesn't mean that you may be able to get your diploma. It depends when your last grades are in. If you complete in spring, most probably you will be able to go through the board in August, meaning you will be awarded your degree and you will get your diploma. If your grades are late for whatever reason, enrolled late, delaying gradings, missing something, you won't be able to collect your diploma at the ceremony, but you will be sent out your diploma once all your grades are in and they have gone through the following board. Meaning you may be getting your diploma, say, end of November, although you have completed all your requirements, because we need to send your name to the academic board for you to be awarded your degree, okay? Those dates are advertised, they will be all on My House, so this should help you planning your degree. If you have any questions about, will I get my diploma or not, simply look at the date of the board. If you are completing all your courses prior to the board, most probably you will. If you don't, then you won't get your diploma until the following one. All clear? So how do you apply for the ceremony? You will receive an email when you are eligible to work at the graduation ceremony, which again is different from collecting your diploma. This means most probably when you have earned around, at present you can work if you have 6 credits missing to still complete, meaning you can already apply at the ceremony, but we won't be approving you until you are also enrolled in those last 6 credits. So you have to enroll in the courses missing before we can approve you. Okay? Make sense? Perfect. Again, this includes also your capstone. So you have to make sure that you also know what do you want to do as your final capstone to make sure that you are enrolled on time for your ceremony. Okay? And that's it, Bunny. I think, yeah, that's exactly what I said. So you need to have at least 6 credits missing. Yeah, that's exactly what I said before. Make sure that you check all your needed courses. Sorry, I didn't realize there was a slide in there. But make sure that you check all your needed courses are completed and you have nothing into your unassigned. Because if anything is into unassigned, then there is an issue. Please come and see us before, and come and see us during our drop. One thing that actually I should mention, your major. Make sure you declare your major, even if it's just general business. That's simply because if you don't declare a major, you will have undeclared showing on your conflicts. So you need to declare what your major is going to be, even if you don't have one. Make sure you fill in the form from IALT, and you tell us what is it that you're planning to do. This also helps us because when we look at your degree already, if you were planning a major and then you're changing to something else, we can review better and confirm with you if you're actually graduating or not, if you're missing courses or not in order to complete your major. Okay?
Can I just interrupt briefly, please, Antonella? Quick, hands in the air, please, if you have declared your major so far. Really? I don't think so.
He put his hands up.
Yeah.
Doing it right now.
All right. So, what major, if you've ever come to me for academic advice, what major do I recommend? General business. You do not generally need a major. General business allows you to cherry pick the courses you want across all the disciplines. Okay, it's only the 400 level finance and accounting courses which have mandatory prerequisites, excuse me, because obviously you need to have that knowledge before you can go on to the higher level stuff. Everything else you are able to do in parallel. So if you're still not really sure what you want to do for the rest of your life, or you actually want to do lots of different things, the only difference is the diploma certificate that you get will say Bachelor of Business Administration in Finance or Bachelor of Business Administration. That's it. And remember, nobody sees that certificate except your mum. It's in a frame on your wall. Employers only look at it after you have your job. Once you've had your job, then they ask to see it as part of compliance to make sure you're not a liar, that you actually have a degree. But it's your CV and your covering letter and your interviews, that's the stuff that gets you the job. And that's why you need to see the careers department early. Alright? So if you're still not sure, that's fine. If you want to change your major, that's fine. But please, just stop registry nagging you saying, hang on, you need another course for this major. Let them know soon by declaring it and changing if necessary. Thank you, Antonella. I apologize. Me? No, it's not me. It is Oscar. Please, another round of applause for Oscar.
Nice to see you. I'm here to talk about everyone's favorite subject, finance. So I'm Oscar. Some of you have seen before, most of you have probably not. That's usually a good thing. We want to see you, so if you ever want to see us, we're on the 4th floor. If you have any questions after this, come see us. I'm going to try to be very brief, so brief that I brought my notebook to remember everything. First thing is Capstone. So when you apply for Capstone, the first step in the application is that it comes to the finance team. And if you've not paid your outstanding fees before Capstone, you will not be accepted for Capstone. So first things first, make sure all your fees are paid, then we'll be able to approve your Capstone and it goes on from there. The process there is that you do your Capstone and afterwards we'll also invoice you for the Capstone credits. Those also have to be paid afterwards, even if you paid your outstanding debt before. Second thing is, when we invoice you for this year, we will invoice you for the amount of credits that you have outstanding to graduate to the 120 that you need. So After that, if you do fail any of the credits that you're taking, you will have to take new credits to make up for that, obviously, and then we'll pay, invoice you additionally for that, just so you're aware of that. Lastly, for graduation, that we're also excited about, if you have not paid everything for graduation, you will also not be approved to walk, which means that if you've invited your families to come here, they want to see you walk the stage, you know, it's a great celebratory moment, and you haven't paid your fees, you will not be walking. That's a very sad moment. That's happened before, so please make sure that you keep track of your finances, keep track of that everything's paid, and if anything's unclear, you can always come see us. We're quite nice, despite the fact that finance might not be the most fun subject. And that's it.
I just wanted to say something. It's important that this is what I was saying, look at your unassigned courses, because once you enroll into something, you pay for those credits. And if you are into unassigned, and you still need to do your needed courses to graduate, then you will end up paying for 123, 126, who knows. But then you will have issues when it comes to graduation because of this reason. So just please come to us before if you see anything that seems unusual on your video. Yeah?
Thank you. Okay. So, Capstone. How many options do you have for your Capstone? Lovely. Can anyone tell me what they are? Sorry, Capstone internship. Good. HBC, wonderful. Which stands for? Huddle Business Challenge. Thank you. What else? Sorry? Huddle Founders Lab. It's not just any Founders Lab. Huddle Founders Lab, Luis. Thank you. And finally, Senior Thesis. Good. So we're going to go through these wonderful things in turn. You have 4 choices. You must complete a capstone. You cannot say, oh, but I took an extra elective. Can that count as a capstone? No. Very simple. You have 4 choices. Nothing else will do. First of all, I will talk about the Huddle Business Challenge. We have had a problem in the past with some students not coming to the Huddle, not learning about their necessity, their requirements for the degree, not thinking about their capstone, and then coming up saying, oh, I think I have to graduate, I just need one course, it's called a capstone, can I enroll please? And at that point, they have very few choices. The Huddle Business Challenge is, as you know, a carefully defined consulting mission designed to enable participants to live in a structured consulting experience with, that's a lovely text. We only offer it in the spring semester. We bring in a company, a very, very nice, large company, who have agreed to work with us. You then get a presentation from that company, from the client, usually in December. Okay, so we actually have it already planned. It's a Tuesday at the beginning of December. The client is going to come here and present the project to you. You then go away and you start the project in spring. You self-form into teams and you then work on it. You'll be assigned a mentor from the faculty. You have 2 touch points where you will have a virtual meeting with the client to go through your plan so far, and then final presentations. The winners of the final presentations, the winning 5 or 6 teams, will then go present in the company's offices. Okay? Last year, we had eBay. eBay were very, very happy with everything. They actually took the recommendations from the winning team to their management meeting that afternoon because they were all tangible, actionable recommendations. So to make sure we don't have students who just don't pay attention and then get to August and say I need a capstone and we say, well, you can't do a capstone at this stage, you'll have to wait. We have decided to follow what has already been happening for 1 or 2 years in San Francisco. Everyone will be everyone who is eligible will be pre-enrolled into the Huddle Business Challenge in spring. Okay? That means anyone who is due to complete their degree before Christmas 2020 will be pre-enrolled. You do not have to do the Huddle Business Challenge because you have the option of dropping. But this way we can be sure that you're paying attention. If you're not paying attention, at least you have your capstone. But if you want to drop it, that's absolutely fine because then you can decide to do one of the other 3 options. And you already know what the 3 options are because you can do the Huddle Founders Lab. We will hear from the most beautifully wonderful Daniel Ricari shortly about that. We will hear from the excellent Jeffrey Klein about the senior thesis, and we will hear from Sarah Cotterill about the Capstone internships. So you do have those options, but just in case you can't decide, we decide for you. All right? Any questions on that? Yes?
How do we know the company for this year?
Today! And as if Christina were prompted to say this, but I did not pay her. Actually, do you want to? It's better we just leave it. Let's leave it. I'll just skip to the next slides.
Let's do it later.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't bother. No. So we'll just carry on to the next slide. We'll talk about Huddle Founders Lab, shall we?
Oh, yes!
All right. So we've met. Yes.
How are you graded on the challenge?
Sorry.
How are you graded?
How you graded? Great question. So, it's not like the old days when we just kind of did Scrabble, just pick letters from a bag. You have a range of assignments that you do in your team. You are in a team, you self-select in a team. If you are unable to create a team, there's always a handful of people, we will help you create a team, all right? In your teams, as with all your teamwork, you get a grade for the team, but we reserve the right to upgrade someone who is carrying the team, going way beyond what everyone else is doing, and we also reserve the right to downgrade someone who hasn't done anything. All right, so there's no freeloading on these teams. You will be graded on a range of assessments. It's not just your final presentation. It's also you have a journal in the middle. You have a participation grade. There's about 5 different criteria involved, which add up towards your grade. Graded by a combination of your mentor and then also the final presentations. Final presentations are usually assessed on campus, which every student goes through, by a campus team, possibly the client, not usually. And then we select the top 6 who go towards the final with the client. The client then decides on the winner, and then we will rank them. They rank the teams and we assign grades to that for the final presentations. All right? So it is a range of things. There's essentially to make sure that you're also participating fully in the challenge throughout the degree. All right? So who wants to know who the client is this year? Not many people. That's fine. We can leave it. You know, there's no rush. All right. What was it last? Who was it last year? And the year before? McLaren. The year before? You weren't here. Excellent. That's a great company. Anyone else? Before McLaren, it was Amazon. Before Amazon, it was UBS. Before UBS, it was Unilever. This time, because we know quite a lot of you are involved in things like the Huddle Management Consulting Club, we are very pleased to bring to you Accenture. We'll be working with Accenture. No problem? No, only KPMG. You're not going to accept Accenture. Good. I'm glad you're mad at yourself. Because, even though Jeff is going to tell you how wonderful the thesis is, don't do a thesis. If you're German and you're Italian, you think you need a thesis to do a master's. If you do it in Germany and Italy, here's the secret: don't do a master's in Germany or Italy. Do it somewhere else, because no one else wants the thesis. Go to a school in the UK or France or Spain or USA or just any other country in the world that's not German speaking or Italian speaking, and you don't need the thesis. All right? But some of you want to do a thesis, and absolutely, it's a great option. Well done. Good. I'm glad we're making it difficult. I'm glad our choices are so good that it makes it difficult for you. So, Accenture, you will be pre-enrolled, and you have to drop your whole business challenge if you want to do something which is equally fun and which a much nicer mentor than I could ever be. The beautiful Daniel Ricari, please. Oh, hello, Milan ruined Daniel's applause by putting his hand up. What do you want, Milan?
I'm very sorry. Is it possible to complete more than one capstone?
Okay, you can do something, one of these as an open elective. Yes. So if you want to do a thesis, why? You could do it as an open elective. You could do the Huddle Founders Lab as an open elective. You can do them as open electives. All right? But we still grade you as if it's a capstone, and we do it as hard as possible. That's for you. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you very much, Ronan. Now, my job is very simple. I have 2 minutes to explain to you why you should drop the Holt Business Challenge. No, most of you have heard of the Holt Founders Lab. There are three things I want to mention today. One is the prerequisites that you guys need to be able to take it for a capstone, and then the options that you have once you're taking it as a capstone. So the first thing that I would ask, most of you have already passed the 30 credit mark, but if you have not taken the 0 credit of the Holt Founders Lab, the first thing I want to say is that it's a free offering. You get free resources from Holt in a structured manner to be able either to start your own business, to be part of a specific business. You could even be part of a business that is already established, that is out there in the market. So I just wanted to spend 2 more minutes to explain that. Some of you believe that you have to come up with the idea yourself. As long as a Holt student is involved in a business that is either registered here or in any other jurisdiction, or obviously when I say any other jurisdiction, I'm talking about the visa issues, you can still register with the Holt Founders Lab to be able to get additional resources in terms of what we call what we call the 0 credit. And the 0 credit is very simple. All that you have to do is have 30 credits or have taken principles of entrepreneurship to be able to have access to those particular resources. I can see in this room that there are a few students who have already been part of that 0 credit, and you would be able to get those resources. A few of the students have actually gone to incubators. So we've got 3 businesses that have gone to YC. One of them has actually moved to San Francisco. If most of you don't know YC, it's one of the most sought out at the moment incubators that startups would like to have. However, I would like to just clarify on one thing. It is not just about the businesses that you want to start, especially if you're looking to do this for a capstone. Most of you come from family businesses that are as big as Essentia, if not bigger. You could be part of your family business and you're looking to take the business forward. You could be looking at intergenerational transitions. You could be looking at creating sub-business units. We at the Holt Founders Lab are looking to engage you guys at any level, whether it be a family business, the ability to start your own business, those that already have MVPs that are outside of Holt. As long as you have the will and you've got the tenacity to be able to come and try and fulfill your particular dream. I always say this to students when I'm advising this. Most students write this on their CV. I am different. And I always say, how do you demonstrate your difference? How do you demonstrate your difference? If you're a 20-year-old that has started their own business or has worked as part of your family business and you have evidence to that, then you're able to walk into a corporate entity and demonstrate your difference. Not just having a degree, but you have got tangible skills that you have developed that you can then demonstrate to be able to show the prospective employer or your own family business that you are ready to be able to take over the particular roles that are available. So that was my 2 minutes. I think it is very clear. The prerequisites are very clear. If you have not taken the 0 credit, but have a business that has what we call an MVP, MVP means a minimum viable product, or is part of a business that is already in the market, or you're looking to have what we call to be part of a family business, I would encourage you to apply for the capstone of the Holt Founders Lab and give Jeffrey and Ronan the ability to say yes to you if you don't have the 0 credit as the prerequisite. As long as you can demonstrate that you're dealing with a mature business. That is my 2 minutes up. Does anybody have any questions? So that, yes.
How does the rating work?
Yes, the grading works very simply. Two reasons. We tailor each individual business because we cannot have a standard measure. So it's very similar to any other capstone. For example, an internship would have a specific grading criteria. But we look at, as soon as the student registers for the capstone, we create a grading criteria based on whatever they're working upon. So if you have an MVP and you're looking to get into the market, we set at that particular point 2 or 3 grading criteria for yourself. So at the beginning of each capstone, there's clarity on what the expectations are for each particular business. Because as you must appreciate, most of you would be dealing with different issues. Correct? One more question? No? Thank you very much. I'll hand over to Jeffrey.
Okay, so I'm not going to try to talk you into anything here, because first of all, you already know that you do want to do the senior thesis, right? You really don't want to do the HPC or the HFL. Actually, both of them, the HFL and the HPC, they're great options. I want to just present to you another option, the senior thesis. I think that essentially this is a self-selecting process. And by that I mean you will naturally gravitate towards the option that you feel matches a little bit about you, a little bit about what you want to do in your future. So with the senior thesis, I think you'll find that this is most adapted for above and beyond someone who's just thinking about, okay, if I'm from Germany or Italy, universities there may require it. Above and beyond that, the senior thesis is most adapted to someone who works very well independently and is super self-motivated, because this will be your biggest project in your university career for you to manage, and you manage it entirely on your own. Whereas with the HPC, you're working as part of a team. It's very exciting. It's a ton of work, but that's part of what makes it exciting. Kind of the same thing with the HFL. You're often working with other people. You're definitely getting lots of feedback from mentors in the HFL. You will get some feedback from a thesis supervisor, but you are essentially working on your own. So that's, I think, one of the most primary questions to ask yourself about writing a thesis is you need to have that self-discipline. You need to be very self-motivated to carry out a project that will be bigger than any other project that you've worked on in your university career. It's 10,000 words, so that's a lot of writing. It's a lot of papers. Most of your papers in the past haven't been above 2,000 words. It's also a paper that has to have a very strong academic rigor to it. Because also this year, one element that we haven't had in the past is we have the viva voce. And the viva voce is going to be required of all theses. Essentially, that is an oral presentation to your thesis supervisor and the second reader on your thesis. So for me, I think of that as an opportunity. That's an opportunity for you to share your enthusiasm for the subject that you chose, that you worked on over the months. And of course, it's a chance for us to evaluate you on your understanding, your mastery of the subject that you've written about. In practical terms, the thesis, as I said, it's 10,000 words. When you're done, you'll have a viva voce with your thesis supervisor and a second reader. To get to that point, though, there's another step. You need to go to the thesis workshops. How many of you have heard about the thesis workshops? Okay, so the thesis workshops take place when? So they take place every semester, but it's really important that you keep in mind that these are done sequentially. So you must do the thesis workshop this semester in advance of when you're writing your thesis. And that will give you a good foundation for you to write your thesis. Okay, we don't allow students, we won't make exceptions to this. You need to complete it this semester, fall semester, if you're planning on writing a thesis in the spring semester. If you're going to write it in the summer, you do your thesis workshops in the spring. How do you do it? It's done all online. Okay? So that's the good part. It doesn't mess up with your schedule. And you progress towards writing a thesis proposal. The thesis proposal is the basis for moving on to being approved to do a capstone thesis. The thesis proposal you'll upload onto the thesis workshop course site, and from there it will be evaluated by a reader. I can't tell you who that is right now, but it will be evaluated, and it'll either get approved, yes, you're okay, you can go on and write a capstone thesis, or sorry, you need to go back and make some changes, you need to work on it more. We basically support you till you get to that process when you can move on towards a capstone thesis. Okay? Is this making sense? Yeah? So, I think the last thing that I would just say is just to consider carefully a little bit about what excites you more, above and beyond, your topic and things like that. Think also about how you feel about working as part of a team with the HBC or the HFL, or if you find yourself often feeling a little bit more motivated towards working on your own. If you're very self-motivated and you find yourself really kind of just working on your own a lot, then a capstone thesis might be an interesting option for you.
How long does it take to do the thesis? I mean, how long do you have?
You have one semester.
One semester.
So whether it's the fall, it's the spring, or this summer. So some students wrote their thesis in the summer. They registered in summer 1. This is important for you because some of you may be writing in the summer. If you start writing your thesis in the summer, you'll finish it in summer, exactly, summer 2. Okay? We wouldn't expect you to finish it in summer 1. Okay? All right? Any other quick questions? Yeah?
Does the Viva Voce count towards the
Yes.
assessment of the final grade, or is
Yes.
it just...
It does count as part of the final grade, so you'll need to be prepared for that. You need to be thinking about making an oral presentation. That's another element that's a part of all your courses too. We wanted to give an opportunity for that too. For me and for you, I always see this as opportunity. We're not trying to put you on the defensive. We're not trying to test you. It's opportunity for you to present to us, because when you do something like this, you work on it 3 months. It's the longest piece of written work that you've done in a university career. It's exciting to talk to other people about it. It's exciting to share with people what you've done. So rather than just kind of let it die on the course side, we bring it to life through an oral presentation.
But does it have like a certain percentage, or how does
Yes,
it work?
and we will give you more details about that when we open that part up. But yes, it will have a smaller percentage than the written part. Yeah.
Does the thesis require any attendance, in a sense that if I were to
No.
have...
Yeah,
100%.
you can be anywhere in the world for it. You don't need to be here in London. And the thesis workshops, you'll do the whole thing online. Yeah. Maybe I didn't completely answer your question about that, though. You will be connected to a thesis supervisor, but the thesis supervisor can guide you from anywhere in the world, because it's usually done online. Of course, if you can do meetings in person, that's always a good thing too. Anything else thesis related? No? All right, great.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah from the Career Development Team. Welcome back to campus. It's great to see you guys. Lots of familiar faces in the room, which we like, but we want to get to know all of you this year. So you're on our hit list. We're going to make appointments. We're going to get to know you really well. I'm here to talk about the Capstone internship. I know Accenture's kind of stolen the show a bit, so hopefully some of you are excited about the opportunity to do a Capstone internship. So it is for academic credit. One thing I just really want to highlight and make sure you all know is you will do an academic assignment. That's one thing to kind of flag straight away, because I think some students forget that's a big part of it. Why do an internship? It's a fantastic opportunity to go out into the job market and get that real world experience on your CV to make you competitive for whatever industry or role you want to go for when you graduate. It's a great way to kind of test out different roles, different industries, and get a taste whether this is for you, and really build some great transferable skills that you can take with you when you graduate. So some of the things to keep in mind in terms of what the Capstone internship involves: the actual work experience itself is a minimum of 120 hours. So that comes in a few shapes and sizes, which I'll tell out. And yeah, you will have a supervising professor to help you along the way in terms of the assignment. When can you do it? You could do it in the fall or the spring, which is great if you want to take up a part-time internship. So have it work around your academic schedule. So say for example, you're aiming for that 120 hours completion. Normally, say if you worked 2 days per week, stretch it out over a period of 12 to 13 weeks. Or in the summer, which is a really popular choice for a lot of students. You can do it in summer 1 or summer 2, full time. So again, this is a great way to deep dive and really get to know the company you're working for. Say if it's in London, typical working hours, 40 hours per week over the course of a month. So we can give you a lot more information and visuals on that if you're trying to plan your calendar. Cool. And to do your capstone internship, you must have 90 credits. And keep in mind, there is a process to basically source your internship. So in a way, it doesn't start when you start your job. It starts now. Definitely start working with the career team as early as possible so it can help you source the right capstone internship for you. And what you're aiming for is to get all the paperwork, get your internship request form done in plenty of time before the add and drop week at the start of your semester that you want to do your internship. So there's quite a hearty vetting process that happens when you get the internship you want to do for your capstone. It goes through all the departments. It'll start with Oscar, it will go through Antonella, it will go through every team. So you want to give yourself a couple of weeks before the add drop date to make sure everything's sorted and you're good to go. And again, I can't emphasize enough, start working with us this semester. Whether you're thinking about the spring or next summer, let's start those conversations now. I think looking for an internship, it takes longer than you think. And we're here to help you through those hurdles. So definitely, we're all here for you tonight, and hopefully some of you are going to stick around for the group coaching session that we're doing. So basically, you're going to have some pizza, it's going to be delicious. If you're thinking about doing a capstone internship, definitely stick around because you're going to meet the whole team and get a taster of how we can help you. Or if you're thinking about graduation, what am I going to do next? Definitely stay, whether it be, maybe you're tossing out doing a master's or joining a family business or looking for an internship or graduate job. Let's start the conversation now and get to know each other because you want to start at scale later. So yeah, any questions about the internship?
From the 2018 intake, and you have to do an internship anyway. Is there a possibility to combine those two in any way?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
So you don't combine internship, but we will accept that the capstone internship satisfies the requirement for an internship. That would mean that then the space on your degree audit for a mandatory internship would become an open elective. All right? We don't recommend it. We encourage you to do another internship. Don't leave everything to the last minute and do a capstone. Okay? There are other ways to actually do it. I would encourage you, if you find an internship, do that as your mandatory internship. Get other experience through the Hot Business Challenge, for example.
Can you, similar to what he's saying, so you do a normal internship and then if you want for your capstone, can you just do one internship for 3 months? And then,
Say that again?
so you have to do 120 hours for this one.
Yeah.
And then another 120 for the other one, right?
Okay.
In terms of the
So
different
yes, instead of doing an internship over summer for
options.
1 month, can you do it for summer one and
You
summer
can't
two?
you can't have one internship split into 2 requirements.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So if you do over 120 hours, you do 400 hours in the company. Wonderful, excellent. 120 is our minimum requirement. We would like you to do more hours than that. That's just the minimum requirement. Ideally, for example, you go for a summer 1, you do 6 weeks in the company. 6 weeks times 40 hours a week is 240 hours. Then you get to know the company a bit better.
Just to confirm one thing though, you have to submit within the term. So if you find an internship that is, for example, 1 year long, even if it's more than 120 hours, when the term ends, you'll have to start an assignment, even if your internship ends 4 months later. Yeah? So it's important you keep that in mind, because if you're looking for a long internship, your deadline for submissions is still going to be within the term that you're applying for your internship.
So let's say I apply for my next term to have an internship for Capstone, but they want to start me earlier than the term starts. Can I still can it be?
Yeah, so that's a good question, and it also depends on your visa status and where you're doing your internship.
Let's say if it's not a problem with visa.
Okay, yeah, then I would say that's good to go if there's no working right issues. What's good to keep in mind, everyone, is that a very important part of the process is this official offer letter, which is going to coincide with the semesters as well. And that needs to be submitted before the add drop date, in plenty of time. Give it a buffer of maybe 2 weeks. Worst case, there's nothing more terrifying when a student comes running up to us and going, I need to get a Capstone internship in a month so I can walk at graduation. You know, you don't want to set yourself into that panic mode, and you know, we want to make sure you're starting that whole process early. But that's a really great question. Everyone, and I'm sure all of you will have different variables that come into the mix, like whether you're a Tier 4 visa student, maybe you're thinking about, and you can do it either in your home country or here in London. Everyone's going to be very, very unique. So what I will say, if you're thinking about doing the Capstone internship, hang around for the next half hour and we can talk more about that. But also, don't forget, you can book advising sessions with us one-on-one, definitely. We can talk you through the finer details of the process and just check how you're going in terms of creating a plan around sourcing it as well.
Let me just clarify one thing. You can apply with us for an internship that is in the future, but we have to approve it before you start the internship. I've had students come to me or come to the team and they finish an internship and say, oh, I'd like this to count for an internship or for a Capstone internship. And then we laugh for a few minutes and it's, oh, you're serious? No, it doesn't work like that. It has to be pre-approved. Okay, even if you get it approved, for example, in February, and you're not going to actually start until summer 1, which is May, that's fine. We can pre-approve it long before add drop. But it has to be before you start the internship. Another thing, if you're on Tier 4 visa, put your hands in the air like you just don't care. Lovely. Remember, you are entitled to... Really, Daniel? You're just putting your hands up anyway. So, you are entitled to do your internship for credit in this country. You have, there has been things in the news that the government are going to change the working rights for students. That's a proposal. Our visa team are in touch with the UK Visas and Immigration. If we learn that something is actually happening, we will let you know. For the time being, if you're on a Tier 4 visa, the only opportunity you have to get work experience in this country is to do an internship for credit. Okay? So this is an option for you. Here you can do the internship back home. Also, just to add on to something that Sarah's saying, please put your hands in the air if you have a family business, or your family has a business. Alright, go on, yeah, and you're thinking of going back to the family business, and therefore you don't need to talk to careers. Talk to careers. Because we've had students come to us where the family factory burnt down, or there was a hurricane that just wiped it out, or they just went bankrupt because there's a recession, because they live in a country where the currency tanked 40%, or there was a messy divorce and the parents decided to split the business and go different ways. Don't rely on the fact that your family business is going to be there forever and ever, okay? And even if you are lucky to have a family business to go back to, don't go to it immediately after school. Get some experience in business where you're not the boss's son or daughter and you have to learn to get on with people because you're not the boss's son and daughter. And then 5 years later, sure, go and take that experience back to the family business. But just because you have a family business is not a reason for you to not take everything seriously now and talk to the careers team. Any questions? So thank you to Sarah for her part. There was a question over there. Yep.
If I'm a Tier 4 visa
Yes, you can. You are allowed to take up to 3 internships during your program. You have the ability to take up to 3. So you can have a capstone and you can have 2 others. For 2018 intake, one of them is mandatory, so you must do an internship. We encourage you to do internships, but obviously it has to be relevant to what you want to do. So if you want to work in finance, don't get an internship working in a logistics warehouse. Or flipping burgers, which is not much of an internship, by the way.
It has to be relevant to your major.
Any other questions, not just with internships, but anything else? Before we move quickly on to the most important part of the evening. Really? Okay, in which case, we will move very, very swiftly on to pizza, which is why you're here, I know. You're students, you need food.